welcome to my channel. My name is Abby. If this is your first time watching me, I'd like to say thank you and welcome. So I make videos on motherhood, family, lifestyle, and all of that good stuff. And I'd like you to subscribe to my channel. Please click on the subscribe button down below to subscribe, and when you do, please turn on the notification bell as well. That way you get notified whenever there's a video on this channel, and there'll be new videos every week. And to my returning subscribers, thank you so very much for always stopping by. So today's topic, as you can see in the title already, is just basically about how to stop yelling at kids, especially toddlers, little kids below 10. I would say it's a bit of a dicey one because everybody knows that kids can test you to your very limit and push you to the maximum brink, push you to the wall basically. It isn't naturally, I found naturally that one of the ways that we automatically tend to or want to react to insubordination or tantrums is actually by yelling at the kids. One thing that I found myself is when I start to think about it is that yelling actually gives control more to you as a parent. And I feel like a lot of parents obviously like to feel a certain level of control where they are relating to the kids. Hence the reason why yelling is probably one of the natural things or one of the natural ways to react to certain situations with our kids. Yelling actually creates and instills fear in our kids. So I am not a saint. I am a learning and I am a growing mom. My first child is 5 years old, so I have been a mom. I have been a mom biologically for 5 years. Now, there are instances, and I am not proud to say this, there are instances where I have yelled at my daughter. Now, none of those moments I am not proud of any of those moments, but here I am being human and admitting to my fault and wanting to share how I have learned through that, or the things that I now do in order not to yell at my kids. And I'd like to share these tips with you. So the first thing is having a very firm and stern voice or look. Kids most times understand body language very well, and probably because of my background as well. I grew up knowing that a certain look meant a certain thing. Shout out to Nigerian moms, shout out to African moms who have actually got this little body language thing on a lockdown. So that has kind of been transferred to the relationship that I have with my daughter, and even my son, I found recently, understands my look when I'm being very serious. If my kids are being extremely boisterous and I am not happy with whatever they're doing at that time, all I need to do is speak with my serious and firm voice. Look, you need to stop this. Mommy doesn't like this. This is not the right thing to do. And they kind of know. They kind of know now when mommy is serious and when mommy means business. Likewise my look as well. Sometimes I don't even get to speak. I don't get to say anything. I just basically give the look and they know, okay, you know what, time out, mommy is serious. We need to stop what we're doing. The second is setting boundaries for kids. Like I said earlier, kids are designed. Kids are going to test you. Your kids are going to test your patience, they're going to test your tolerance, they're going to test your limits, they're going to test you, period. And I found that one of the effective ways that I communicate with my kids now, in order not to yell, is to set boundaries. So there's bath time, there's bedtime, there's brush your teeth time, there's playtime. There's basically a structure and a routine to a lot of the things that we do now. And when I say mommy doesn't want you to do this now, you're going to probably, for example, you want a snack, and I reckon it's rather too early for a snack. Considering how long ago you had a meal, I can say now it's not the appropriate time for a snack. You've got to wait about an hour or 2 more hours before you have a snack. That is basically me setting a boundary, saying that you need to respect time, saying that you need to respect what mommy has said. So if I tell you you have to wait for 2 hours before you get snacks, then 2 hours it is. I make sure that I try as much as possible to set realistic timelines, to set realistic timelines so that I don't frustrate, my kids, and I make sure that I adhere to those timelines. So if I say there is no, if I say for XYZ reasons you aren't going to watch your tab, you aren't going to watch cartoon on your tab for the first half of the day, for instance, and you go get your tab and you sneak and watch it, best believe there's going to be consequences for your action. And that brings me to my next point, making sure that there are consequences to being disobedient, there are consequences to doing what you're not supposed to do. Likewise, there are consequences to not doing what you're supposed to do. Now, like I said, my first child is 5, my second is a year and a half. I mean, there's a limit, obviously, to the things I'm going to require of them. They're still very little kids, but I make sure that even with the little that is required of them, I make sure that they realize that, especially with my first child, seeing as she's 5 and smart now, they realize that there are consequences to certain things, there are consequences to certain actions. If you behave in a particular way, then or you're not going to get toys for the day, or your snack time is going to be delayed, whatever it is, that just basically enforces the fact that this is the consequence for your action or your inaction. Sometimes I even tell my daughter, you know what, you've done this, mommy warned you, and mommy's not happy with what you've done. So how would you like mommy to react? Do you want mommy to take your tab from you? Or do you want mommy to delay your snacks? So I'm basically letting you participate in the consequences as well. I'm giving you the choice. I'm being nice. I'm giving you the choice. And sometimes she tells me which is preferable to her, depending on the degree of what she's done. If I feel like, you know what, okay, that's probably a one-off situation, then I can be quite relaxed in my measures in terms of letting her know what the consequences are. The fourth is letting your child understand that there's only so much grace that you can give. And the way that's worked for me is my daughter now knows that in certain situations you get 3 strikes, 4 strikes, whatever it is. If you mess up 3 times consecutively, the third time you're going in timeout. I'm always very quick to remind her, strike 1. And the thing about kids is once they know that they get a strike or a second strike and they know that they've got 1 or 2 more to go, they're usually very mindful of what they do and how they behave, because really no child wants timeout, right? So now my daughter knows 2 strikes, 3 strikes, 4 strikes, depending on the situation or depending on what I've communicated earlier. By the time you get to your last timeout. And the next tip is talking to the child when the child is being disobedient. I have since realized that you can actually effectively have conversations with your child, no matter how little the child is, no matter what you think, no matter how little you think the child is. Children are extremely smart, probably so much more than we give them credit for. And I found that with my daughter, sometimes when she's probably disobedient in certain situations or when she's being a bit herdy, I sit her down and I say to her, mommy doesn't like what you've done, so can you tell mommy why you behaved in a certain way as opposed to my expectation, of her, or as opposed to what was initially required or even agreed. And sometimes there's been instances where she's actually responded and let me know that she's actually told me it's because I didn't like that, it's because I didn't want to do that at the time, or I didn't feel like doing it. So a lot of times our initial reaction to the action or inaction is actually be so surprised, angry, and in effect yell. But sometimes I just say, okay, sit down, let's talk about this. So why don't you want to do your homework? So why don't you want to eat your dinner? Why don't you want to do this, or why do you want to do that? And a lot of times you would find that it's actually efficient. Sometimes having a conversation with your child about certain situations is a lot more effective than yelling. Lastly, if you lose yourself and you yell at your child and you get angry, you snap, and you just basically get into that zone, it's actually a good thing to own up to your excesses and apologize to your child. Like I said earlier in this video, there have been instances where I've yelled at my daughter, and eventually I've actually called her, I've given her a big hug. I've actually called her, gave her a big hug, and I profusely apologized for my behavior. And I just basically explained that it wasn't what she did, it was just basically, what was going on in my head. It was just basically about mom. I didn't want her to bear the responsibility of my behavior. And I feel like that's something that a lot of parents need to do a lot more these days. If you've wronged your child, no matter how little the child is, call your child and just basically apologize and let the child know, mommy yelled at you, mommy shouldn't have yelled at you, and mommy is very sorry. Mommy promises not to yell at you anymore. Mommy will speak to you better. And whatever it is really that you feel like your child is going to understand at the time, just basically own up to your mistake to your child and apologize to your child, not forgetting the fact that these kids actually learn from us, learn from our behavior, right? And the way we actually speak to our kids, the way we communicate to our kids, the way we communicate to our kids is actually somewhat their inner voice. So you want to make sure that your child effectively understands that it's okay to admit and own up to wrong behavior in certain instances. I don't yell at my kids anymore, and I am basically a happy mom in terms of communicating with my kids. So I hope that these tips help you. And if you are a yelling mom, please stop yelling at the kids. Talk to your child and you'll be alright. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please remember to like this video, remember to comment and let me know if you have any tips as it relates to how you stopped yelling at your kids, or your experiences with yelling and communicating better and all of that good stuff basically. Thank you so very much for watching, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, again, reminder, kindly please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.